Okay, everybody, we're back. Okay, so find the digit in the hundreds place. Now, there's a difference between hundreds and hundredths. See, I've got that th in there. That's different. Okay, so it's in this number. We've got 291.8564, 200. So the two is going to be in the hundreds place, and then the hundredths, okay, right there, we start with tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths, and so on. So the hundredths place would be a 5. Okay. Or you can say this, that's 1/10, right? So that's going to be our first decimal place. Next one is 1/100th, hundredth. I just add another zero. And then I add another zero. So the third decimal place will be 1,000th or thousandths place. Tack on another zero, and that's 10,000th. Tack on another zero for the next decimal place, and that'll be 100,000th, and then millionth, and 10 millionth, and 100 millionth, and so on. Okay, the thousandth, it doesn't say thousand, which would be right here, but thousandth, be tenths, hundredths, thousandths, it's a 6. And that's how it's done. It's important to know how to read a number. Okay, this is just basic stuff for just working with numbers. Yeah, make sure you know how to do that. All right, so write the following number in standard decimal form. Okay, so we've got 64, and so that's going to give us our decimal point. 506 thousandths. Okay, let's just write 506. And does that work out? Does 506 end on the thousandths place? On the thousandths? Let's see, it's tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Yep, it sure does. Okay, it sure does. So that's going to be our answer. Now, what if they said instead of thousandths, what if they said hundred, thousandths? Well, that's a weird thing to write. What if they said that instead of thousands? Then we would say, well, wait a minute. This ends on the thousandths place, not the 100,000ths. So that means I've got to stick a zero in there. Let's see, that gives us tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths. We're still not there. We want 100,000ths. Okay, so let's stick in another zero. Okay, so it's tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths, 100,000ths. I'm trying to really accentuate the way this is pronounced because it's really similar to other words. And then, so if had it been 64 and 506 100,000ths, well, this would have been the answer. I don't think I've got anything that hard here, but that's how it works. Okay, on this one, what is the location of D on the decimal number line below? I don't know. Let's see. So we're at 0 there and 1 there. Oh, so it's in between 0 and 1. Is it a half? Maybe, maybe not. We got to count the tick marks. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tick marks to get from one whole number to the next one. So apparently we're doing tenths. Okay. And how many of those tenths, how many of those tick marks did it take to get to D? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. Okay. And then, we could simplify that down to 1/2. So it really is 1/2. And it looks like 1/2. It looks like D is exactly halfway between 0 and 1. And so it is. But that's how you would do it. Okay. Okay, on this one, the point G is shown on the decimal number line below. Answer the following question. Yeah, okay, sure. You bet. Okay, let me zoom out just to see how far. Okay, yeah, that looks good, right? Okay, hang on. Let me just adjust. Okay, oh, that was more than I needed. Okay, got it. So A, in the figure below, the region around G, so this boxed off region, I guess, has been enlarged. Oh, okay. Yeah. Uh, so here's the enlarged version right here. You can tell by, these lines here represent these lines here. Okay, so it's the exploded view, zoomed in view. Give the locations of the highlighted tick marks. Oh, so that one and that one. And then write your answer as a decimal. Okay. Well, let's do it. All right. So um first of all, how many tick marks are there from 1 to 2? Okay, well it's 1, 2, whoops, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we're doing tenths here. So like, the decimal system. Cool. All righty. So this first tick mark is going to be, looks like it's just going to be right there. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. That tick mark is right there. It looks like it's going to be 1, 2, 3. So 3 out of 10 tick marks, 3/10ths. Okay. So that tick mark there is going to be 1 because we're already up to 1, and then another 3/10ths. Okay. Or let's just say 1.3 because it's cooler to do decimals anyway. Okay. And then the next tick mark, okay, is going to be, hang on one second here. Am I doing this right? Yeah, I'm doing it right. Okay. So that is going to be 1.3. And oh boy, I gotta how do I move that thing? Just, yeah, right there. Okay. 1.3. And the other one, like I said here, is just going to be one more tick mark up. So that's at 1.4. Okay. Then for part B, they say, all right, use your answer to part A to get the location of G. Well, G is in between 1.3 and 1.4. So we know it's going to be 1.3 something. All right. So, well, these tick marks in between, 1.3 and 1.4, how many are there? So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so again, 10 tick marks. So we're still doing the decimal system. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. So 4/10ths of the way. And so we're just going to put a 4 there. So on these pictures, on these first two pictures, we were looking at tenths. Okay. But in the second picture, we were looking at what was going on in between the tenths. In other words, we were looking at hundredths. Okay. And that is, just a little bit more to help you understand tenths and hundredths and number line and all that. Okay, so they want us to order the decimal numbers from smallest to biggest. Okay, well, let's just look at the first digit of each. They all have a 7 in the ones place. Okay, so that doesn't tell us anything about what's bigger and smaller. Let's go to the next one. Okay, we've got a 1 in the tenths place, a 3 in the tenths place. Okay, so this guy is bigger than this guy. And a 1 in the tenths place and a 1 in the tenths place. So they all have a 1 in the tenths place, except for this one, which means he's the only one that's bigger than that. So he's got to be the biggest. All right, so we can ignore him. Let's go to the hundredths place. We got a 9 and a 9 and a 0. Well, the smallest out of those is the 0. So the smallest number is 7.109. All right, that was the hundredths place, the second decimal place. Let's now go to the, we took care of that, to the third decimal place, the thousandths place. We have an 8, and on this one we have a 0. You can always tag zeros on to the right of the decimal point. Well, 0 is smaller than 8, so okay, so that's smaller, and 7.198 1 is bigger. And now they are all in order. Okay, so now we're going to do a little bit of rounding because that's something that definitely gets used in the world. For example, I'm like, okay, one item is $9.98 and another item is 12.48. I'm not going to do that in my head, and I'm not going to pull up my calculator. I'm just going to say, well, that's about $10, and that's about $12.50. $10 and $12.50. It's about $22.50. Close enough. Plus, they're going to add on tax, so it's not even going to be exactly $22.50 or exactly whatever this was when you add it up. So estimating is very useful. Okay. Oh, you know what? I guess I should just leave that there because it looks cool. All righty. So round this guy to the nearest hundredth. Hundredth is the second decimal place. Okay. So what I'm going to do, since whoops. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the next decimal place, just the next one to the right, which in this case has a 2. And I'm going to say, is that number 5 or bigger? No, it's not. So when I round off to the nearest hundredth, I'm just going to keep the 4. Okay. And it'll be 9.44 for my answer. Okay. But what if the original number were 9.447? And I say round off to the nearest hundredth, I'd look at the next number and say, is that 5 or bigger? Yep. So that means when I round this guy off, I'm going to take that digit in the hundredths place and pump it up just a little. Because after all, 447, is 447 closer to, well, which of these numbers is it closer to, 9.45 or 9.44? Well, it's closer to 9.45. Or you can think of it like this: 447, is that closer to 450 or 440? Okay. Anyway, but yeah, so the answer would be 9.45 if this had been the problem.